blah.
Oh, God. Not again, Mark. It's so annoying.
It's not my fault.
Why does it happen every day?
I don't know.
But anyway, before we get on to the news, sorry we're radioactive. It just looks horrible. I wouldn't want to watch it if we look this radioactive.
New episode of Moon Knight's landed. Is anyone watching Moon Knight? I am.
We look like aliens. I hate it.
Yeah. Notice
Can't
there's a
you do
bit more
something
space
about it?
between us.
Is there, right, with all that we can do, fly to the moon, take out a heart of one body and put it into another one, all the things we can do, we can't stop looking radioactive.
Well, we don't most days. We just do today. Get over it.
I don't want to be radioactive. Okay, so guys, earlier on I was over on Instagram and I asked people, do I look mutton in this jacket? Is Juicy Couture mutton? Okay.
Yep.
To which Mark said, no, so then I asked Mark, and Mark said, no, it's not mutton and you don't look too old for it.
Right.
And I said to him, what did I say to you?
I can't remember.
I said, is that the truth? And he said, yes. I said, would you have
Hang on,
told
I'm
me?
so confused.
Would you have
Hang
told
on. I'm totally confused. What did you say and what did
Right.
I say?
I basically said, would you tell me the truth? And he said, no.
Yeah, but I was telling you the truth when you said, do you look mutton
But how do
as
I
well?
know that? You've already just told me that you don't tell me the truth.
You've got to trust me.
Well, but you've told me you wouldn't tell me the truth.
Well, you wouldn't tell me if I look like an absolute twat.
Yes, I would. I tell you it nearly every day.
Tight...
Who thinks I would tell Mark if he looked a twat? Come on, yes or no? Would I tell Mark if he looked like a twat? Let's see. Would I tell Mark if he looked a twat? You know me well enough by now. Is it yes or yes?
Develop
Thank you
de
very
Grau.
much. Yeah. Oh yes. 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 So I do tell you the truth. So when I say something lovely to you, you know it's the truth. But you have just said to me today that you haven't got the courage to tell me the truth.
I don't think any man has.
Why? What's so awful?
Because the payback is just intolerable.
Are you fucking joking?
You tell me it as it is. You've just said you tell me everything,
And you're
you
always broken.
And you wonder
You're a
why I'm a
broken man, I
suppurating
tell you.
mess.
But come on. So you could be sitting there thinking, oh, that's very mutton, that top, but you wouldn't tell me.
No,
Do you think
no,
it's
I
mutton?
wouldn't. No,
Right, obviously from your
I
smile.
don't think it's mutton.
Who thinks this is mutton?
I genuinely don't think it's mutton. I genuinely don't. But if you did look mutton, I wouldn't tell you.
What? So now we do.
So
So we can't know if you think I'm mutton or not.
But I wouldn't sit here professing that you don't look mutton. I'd probably stay quiet about it.
Excuse me, Julie Franks. He could win by just telling the truth.
Yeah, but then it's a whole heap of agony. Isn't it? I mean, you're going to, I mean, okay, what if I said you did? What would your first response
I'd
be?
say, why didn't you tell me that before?
Yeah, exactly. And then you'll start to say, what else do I look like that in?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, well,
And I'd just say, and then I'd say, why didn't you have the courage to say this before?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Thank you for all your comments on my Instagram account. I did a post about the small signs of descending into mental health crises. One of them is, for me, not shaving. So, yeah, there's a little kind of, thanks for all of you. Just keep an eye on those little trigger cues that actually you're willfully, actually, though you don't think you're willfully, taking yourself down a slippery slope. But go over to my Instagram and check out what I'm talking about. And also, finally, just on the Instagram front, if you really want to know what the actress, you just posted about this on your stories, Nads, if you really want to know what the actress who's playing Barbie in the new Greta Gerwig film looks like, head over to the Popcorn Junkies Instagram account you can see. Yeah.
It's good. Head over there.
Kimberly Jones, it's my 50th birthday tomorrow. Had one heck of a life.
Oh, that's true. Oh my God, this is the sort of detail that makes me howl with laughter with our followers. OPMB says, he says baby bum in your tracksuit bottom.
Go and stand over there. You go and stand over there. Let's see.
No!
Baby bum.
I'm not doing it.
Walk like a toddler. Walk like a toddler. Sorry, I was in the middle of saying Kimberly Jones, it's my 50th birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you, Kimberly Jones, for tomorrow. Happy birthday to you, Kimberly Jones, for tomorrow. Happy birthday, dear Kimberly Jones. Happy birthday to you.
It's my 50th, I've said that. Had one heck of a life, survived abuse, trauma, chronic health issues, cancer scare, surgeries, and a pandemic. Grateful just to be alive.
Great. Gratitude is the most
absolutely
most incredible available tool to us, isn't it?
And everyone is singing
Well done,
happy
you.
birthday for you for tomorrow,
Yeah.
Kimberly. There you go. Can you hear it? Listen. I can hear it. I can hear
hear
it.
Toffee snoring.
I can hear Toffee snoring
She's
too.
so funny. She's the funniest dog.
Funniest dog.
She just doesn't stop talking
She
these
just doesn't
days.
stop talking. Why am I repeating
Mark,
everything?
it's really, really fucking annoying. Stop it.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Stuart G, sometimes it's best to just smile and nod.
No, I don't like it when you smile and nod.
Oh, dearie me. Happy birthday, Kimberly. She doesn't look anything like Barbie, says Susan. Oh, well, there you go. Tell us what you think. Go over and let us know what you think. Tina Davis says her cat snores. Natasha Milchin.
Join on, and actually, guys, can you follow at Popcorn Junkies? Because it's our sister account and we love it so much. And it'd be lovely to get more followers.
Have lots of people wishing Kimberly happy birthday. Natasha Milchin must go soon. We'll watch on replay. Just want to say hi. Hi, Natasha.
Hi, Natasha.
Have a good day, my darling. Talking about mental health on This Morning. Tony Dunsford, that's
Oh,
good.
guys, can I just tell you that my yoga teacher, Zoe, was saying that she's doing it. Mark and I are going to be doing it. It's starting on the 1st of May, a 21-day daily yoga program. Do you know how much she's charging? I think it's 21 quid.
For 21 days?
Yeah.
That's quite something.
21 quid. So if you really want to, make that start, make that journey, you've seen what it's done for me, yoga. I just absolutely love it. Sunday is your day.
Yeah.
It will be a live Zoom, I think, on Sunday. I'm going to be doing it. We'll see whether we can get Mark to do it, but I am working on him.
Claire K, what is happening with home time? Missing it. It's not frequent enough, is it, at the moment? It's like one of the...
Ask Mark, he's got vlogitis, he won't vlog
Waiting
anything.
for a bus. I don't know. Don't know what's wrong. No, seriously, they are coming. Happy birthday, Ellen. It's Ellen's birthday. Happy birthday, Ellen.
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Ellen.
Happy birthday to you. Courtney Richardson, I'm 6 months pregnant. Can I join, Nadia?
Yes, you can. DM my yoga teacher, Rachel Spain Yoga, and just have a chat with her. She's so friendly. She is one of the nicest people on the planet. That's why I post so much about her, and it's because I said to her, I panic that people won't know about the benefits of yoga. So that's why I'm always posting about her, and because she's a really good person. So check her out.
So for the third day in a row, Angela Rayner makes the headline, makes the title.
I might not be able to talk in this.
But the reason Angela Rayner's making hitting papers again today is that having sort of discussed the fact that it was outrageous, these suggestions that she was doing a basic instinct to distract Boris Johnson from whatever he was saying by crossing her legs and potentially just disturbing him with all this misogyny and everything. The Daily Mail's then run a story in which they've uncovered a light-hearted podcast that she contributed to, where she herself was making light or laughing about the fact that there was this suggestion she was doing a Sharon Stone on the front bench.
Do we know when this podcast was, Mark?
It was earlier in the year. It was certainly earlier this year. She does talk with great cheer and humour. She laughs about it. But she does also say that it made her feel uncomfortable. So obviously what's happened since this story's been unearthed and sort of brought to us by the Daily Mail again, is that there's a sort of shift. I noticed Nick Ferrari was sort of relishing the idea that perhaps it wasn't as bad as we first thought, because she's in on the joke.
Is so misogynistic and so sexist. He felt so comfortable today with himself. I'm so angry about it, Mark. I can't speak.
So tell us what are you angriest about?
Because I think people will.
So just to clarify, do you understand? The suggestion is that perhaps this wasn't as bad and as misogynistic as it was at first sight
because she's made a joke about it on a podcast, right? I think many women here that are listening to this will have been in a situation. I probably did it just last week. I've probably done it the week before and the week before that and the week before that, probably every fucking week of my entire life. made jokes around stuff that I'm actually uncomfortable with. And
as a way of managing it.
as a way of managing it. And for the misogynistic, sexist men who feigned outrage at this story last week, it's everything's off. It's all off, and they're all revealing themselves. Oh, well, you see, it is a joke, because that's actually what they thought. That's actually exactly how they would have spoken. That's what I feel. It reveals them, and it reveals nothing to me about Angela Rayner except the fact that we all know that. We all laugh off the sexist stuff that we have to put up.
Well, this, yes.
Oh God, oh my God, look at. I mean, there was somebody telling me a story the other day about. I have to be really careful, I don't want in any way to reveal what it was, but it was absolutely horrendous what was happening to her at work. I mean, beyond any story that I've ever heard. And this was happening every single week, the way that this person was approaching this person, and it became a thing that everybody laughed about in the staff room. Oh God, here he is again, da 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 da. And then it got to quite a very unpleasant stage with that particular story. But the point is, she laughed about it often and would share with people what this person was like, and then everybody would laugh about it. That doesn't mean that what that person was doing was okay. It's like, how do you deal with misogyny and sexism in your work life? How do you? I don't know what came before in that conversation, but this is just a behaviour that I fully understand.
But it puts me in mind a little bit of how, back in the sort of 70s, 80s, 60s, the way in on the topic of racism, the way in which, often black actors or black performers would be sort of, the idea of folding them in on the joke about them, the racist joke about them, somehow made it sort of
More
allowable or permissible. Or if they're laughing about it, it's not really racist. Or if they're laughing about it, it's not really offensive. I mean, as a lot of you are saying here, creatorholic, a joke and reality are two different things.
Exactly.
Silkani, you can laugh at it but still be uncomfortable. Women have to all the time.
I mean, they had Andrew Pearce on, Nick Ferrari today, who's the editor of the Daily Mail, isn't he? He said, well, and before we'd heard the podcast, it was like, hang on a minute, the podcast changes fuck all for me.
Yeah, no, of course it does.
But
does it change any of your opinions?
Yeah.
Does the podcast change any of your?
Let's have it. We can have
does
a
the
row
podcast
about
change any of your opinions about whether So, I mean, I suppose
I love
the
that you completely understood it straight away. You completely understood it.
I was
because
outraged.
you're not a misogynist.
Well, no.
So
As I was listening, I could just hear. I'll tell you what frustrated me more was just hearing the sort of satisfied, pompous relish of a man thinking that
she's been caught
something
out.
That we were all supposed to feel really wrong
about. It was a political storm last week. Now we hear her joking about it on the podcast.
But what that comment actually reveals is you have zero interest or compassion for what women are experiencing or potentially experiencing. I mean, zero. You must have zero, because if you want to run at this as the kind of resolution of the story.
Oh, great, we found this on the podcast. Guess what? She was making a joke about crossing and uncrossing her legs. So, hey guys, we're all off the hook.
Yeah, let's all do it. Let's all do the jokes. It's a more complicated question I want to ask is of the Mail. The Speaker of the House called the editor of the Mail into the House of Commons.
What I think about this.
He was called into the House of Commons to kind of answer for himself publicly, and the editor of the Mail refused.
Apparently very politely.
Yeah, I don't think you are going to surprise me, because I think I'm of the same opinion.
What?
I don't think he should have gone.
Good.
Yeah, no, I mean, regardless of how offensive or how much maybe the Mail reported this story.
But he was reporting a very offensive event.
Yeah.
I actually think, though I hate the Mail, and I hate the headline, and I hate all of that, it's their job to report to us the kind of behaviour that is going on, within the Houses of Parliament. If somebody comes and gives them a story like that, it's coming up to election, we need to know who these people are. So I actually don't think they were wrong. And if we are going to be, I mean, what I would have liked was the leader of the House of Commons stood up and go, which one of you said this. And I'm telling you now, none of you are going to lunch until one of you owns up. That would have been amazing. Because there's some little fuckers in there that have said this and are sitting like this hoping nobody catches them out.
Interesting comment here. Sarah Jones, to be fair, if we're all being honest, females and males use their looks as a weapon, but I don't think in this situation at all. Molly26 Rose, I'm just going to show you a comment. YouTube's held it back. Pippa Crerar and Paul Brand, who are they? I don't know who they are, have just broken the story that a Tory MP was watching pornography in the chamber of the House of Commons around female MPs. What the actual fuck? I mean, this is like being in a bad science
but hey,
class.
guess what? Some of those female MPs might have watched porn themselves. So what difference does it make if he was watching porn in front of them?
Then it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, does it?
No,
it doesn't matter.
Angela Thompson, she said, I mentioned this yesterday. She did say she changed her choice of clothes to go on Lorraine because of it. Ava Greenall, I remember we had a bloke who was on the periphery of our social circle and he'd come into our local pub when we were playing music and perv. 2 women eventually picked him up and threw him out of the pub.
Do you know what else, guys? Right, just think about this. Just thinking about the way that PR works and thinking about the training that politicians have to deal with things that can pop up about them. If this was only this year she did that podcast, right, she would absolutely remember that she'd said that on that podcast. So she would also know that if she came out outraged about what happened to her at the weekend, that somebody's going to get that podcast and say, well, you were joking about it last week. So in Angela Rayner's mind, there is a huge difference. People will be thinking, lots of people will be thinking that Angela Rayner's going, oh my God, they found that what I said on the podcast. Yeah. Because again, they don't understand the fundamentals of this, that, thank you, Creatorholic. A joke is one thing. When somebody's actually standing there accusing you of using those tactics, using those female skills, is a very different thing.
Yeah, no,
she
I agree.
knew. She hasn't been surprised by this podcast coming up today. No way.
No, and also I think there's an inference that perhaps she's taken advantage of the new news story for political gain.
But she would have known that the podcast thing was there. So this isn't like.
I mean, I'd be keen to hear her talk about it. I think she should. Hopefully she's going to come out and double down
and you
on
know
the
what?
double bluff kind of misogyny.
I would absolutely say use this for political gain. What is politics other than our lives? And the thing is, forget Labour, Tory, whatever, forget all the other machinations of what's going on. This is a real and present issue for many, many women, no matter what their jobs are in their workplace. So the politics of this are very, very important. So she can use this to highlight that, to make people think a bit more. I mean, just thinking about yesterday again about the Black Lives Matters movement and the amount of change. Obviously, there's still loads of change, but the amount of change that has happened from that, this could be the catalyst for real change, where people actually do really fucking watch what they say at work. And actually, it's not okay to make a woman feel intimidated. And it's not okay to just stare at somebody that doesn't want you and doesn't fancy you from the desk across the desk, just because she happens to be a woman and you fancy her, or vice versa.
Agree. Yeah. Pink Lady, they took the piss out of her for leaving school at 16, pregnant with no qualifications.
She's my hero because
surely
of that.
She's done amazing considering her
Exactly.
background. Yeah, I mean, she's hardly had a help
So
up,
with no hand whatsoever in life, chaotic home, addiction, all of that, single parent, grandmother at 41, no education, she's got to where she's got. Fucking hell, that takes some grit. Deputy leader of the Labour Party. She was a care worker. That to me speaks volumes against somebody that's just had everything that they could possibly have needed handed to them.
Sarah Jones, does anyone think the MP who said it is actually from Labour and that this could be for political gain and Angela's feelings are collateral damage?
I think that
That's interesting because we were discussing whether it could in fact have been a woman.
I think the thing is we don't know, so we can't say absolutely. It wasn't just one MP though, it was MPs.
Yeah. It
was MPs.
And they did identify Conservative, didn't they? I'm sure they did.
Yeah, they did. They did say Tory MP.
Yeah.
Which, don't forget, if the mail got taken to a court of law, they would have to name who the person was. So the Mail wouldn't have said it was a Tory MP if it wasn't, because that would get them in trouble if they ever needed to go to court.
So one of the other stories knocking about today is that the minimum marriage age is being raised to 18 in England and Wales.
I did think it was 18. I didn't know you could get married at 16.
Yeah,
Did you?
today, tears of joy. I think tears of joy roll down my face because I know what this means for girls like me. Said campaigner Paisley Malika. And I think this is...
So this is a great move for forced marriage.
Exactly. Until now, people have been able to get married from the age of 16 with parental consent.
I hadn't thought of that.
Which campaigners have warned leaves girls in particular risk of being
this is
coerced
great,
into
then.
forced marriages. So you can't force. So I just wanted to know, really. I mean, obviously there's a sort of major cultural issue here. As this Paisley Malika says, who was coerced into marriage at 16, she tweeted, struggling to put into words what this means. I feel so many emotions. This journey has been an incredible one. I've worked with so many women who've supported me, one another, and this campaign. There is no us without you all. This is for every girl.
Oh my God, that makes me cry.
Yeah, that is...
Oh my God, if this just... I hadn't thought of... Because I hadn't seen the story. I was just thinking, 16, and thinking of young, sweet love 16-year-olds, sort of, with the rose-tinted glasses on. We're going to get married, we're going to have babies. I'd have forgotten about forced marriage. This is a huge step then. This
absolutely.
is great. Yeah.
And also, I mean, I suppose, what's the youngest... Does anyone know anyone who got married under the age of 18? Not in a forced marriage, or maybe in a forced marriage scenario. I mean, my mother, bizarrely, she was married, got married
17.
at 18.
Oh, that's right, yeah, because she went straight to do a driving test afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. And, so I just wonder whether the age of people getting married is getting older.
I'm trying to think who I was going out with at 16.
Yeah.
Who would I be married to? Oh, no, 17 would have been my blue boyfriend.
Courtney,
Blue boy.
Blue boyfriend. Courtney Richardson, my gran, I presume that says, was 17. It was a disaster.
Yeah, but they're not always.
No.
They're not always.
Steffi Quinlan, got married the day before her 19th birthday. Go on.
Wow. I mean, my sister Dina, a lot of her friends got married very young, and they're all still with their partners and all still in happy marriages.
That's
yeah.
something, isn't it?
I'm not as against it as I would have been in the past. Like, before I had my girls, or when our girls were small, if you'd said to me, what would you think if your kids, like at 18, 19, said, this is the one for me? I would have done everything. I would have said, don't do it. I would have said, I'm not of that thinking anymore. I mean, for instance, our daughter has the most adorable boyfriend, and they really do love each other. And I think we've been locked into this way of thinking that we must always look around. And what if that person that you've met first is the nicest and the kindest and the most loving person that you're going to meet?
Yeah, I think we often in life, and I think this applies to work, it applies to love, it applies to creativity, mental health. We assume that we move logically towards a better thing all the time. Or we move on a narrative, do you know what I mean? And you're right, what if the first person, the idea is, the standard sort of received wisdom is, you need to move through several relationships.
You need a load of frogs, you need to see what else is in the sea. Kiss a frog to find a prince.
You need a load of frogs.
Yeah, because, you can have loads of frogs, but you'll eventually find your prince.
Yeah, the occasional tadpole.
Keep
Natasha
my hair.
Tiramos. I met my husband at 17 and we will be together 17 years in June. We didn't get married for a very long time though. As being a child of divorced parents, I worried and wanted to be sure.
Yeah, I bet that's hard.
Yeah. Helen Groves. I got with my ex-husband at 16. Although we didn't marry till 9 years later, but I think I was far too young. We had a baby when I was 17. Wow.
Some people are just born for that, aren't they? Though, and they're fantastic mothers, and physically, you're at your prime to have a baby. Let's face it, our physiology hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So I don't dismiss all young love and all young mums and dads, because I think it can work. But from just when we've done our podcast, we've had so many people say, "Oh, of course I love my child, but God, I was too young and I missed out."
Yeah, absolutely. I pulled this story.
Oh, look, somebody there. I married at 16. Biggest mistake.
Oh, where's that?
Married at 16. So you had to get... Where are you? So you had to get your parents' permission. Was that difficult to get your parents? I mean, did you really have to talk them into it? Or were they quite happy for you? Oh, where is it?
Can't find it. Elsa Pop, I met my husband online when I was 21. He was my first and only boyfriend. Been happily married for 14 years.
Oh, lovely. Bellix. I was with my first love for 18 years. We just grew apart, yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I worry that you just do get into just being friends, which is lovely.
Yeah.
But eventually somebody is going to want sex.
Yeah. Beth Scammell, if I'd have married my boyfriend at 16, I'd have been going through my first divorce by now. How old are you? Curious to know. I met my husband at 17, Liz Ritchie, married at 18. Best thing I ever did. He was my rock. Lost him 6 weeks before our 40th anniversary.
No!
Oh, sweetheart.
Oh, no.
Oh, sweetheart.
So sorry.
Oh, God. Susan Wilson, I got married at 19, married for 46 years. We were going to mention, you mentioned convicted terrorists setting up Sharia courts. It feels a bit of a downer, that, doesn't it? Sort of.
Yeah, we don't have to do that.
Yeah, no. Yes, so, yeah, we're not going to do that. I just wanted to flag up this story. A school has placed a boy aged 12 in isolation for what they call an extreme new Easter holiday haircut.
How old-fashioned can we get?
Yeah, he claims he's told by his head of his shaved the sun. Jacob Cullen would not have been put into isolation if he was female, his furious dad claims, and he's refusing to let the matter with St Andrew's Catholic School drop. He says the school is discriminating against his son after he was thrown into isolation over an extreme Easter holiday haircut. Let's have a look at it. So it's shaved at the back and sides.
I think he looks really old-fashioned haircut.
It looks like a really old-fashioned haircut.
It looks like a
Let me
Victorian school's haircut.
quickly show you the haircut, the offending haircut. Let's have a look.
Oh, I do get so annoyed with schools for this rubbish. Oh, for God's sake.
Extreme haircut. I think he looks like a city slicker.
He really does.
Doesn't he?
I thought it was going to be bright pink and sort of Mohican.
I remember.
What do you call that extreme? I mean, he's had a lot cut off, but...
I remember years ago we did a series of something called Classrooms at War, and we followed the story of a boy who was suspended and then expelled and then lost in the system because he bleached his hair. You know, I do find that all that kind of rules for the sake of rules and all that kind of malarkey, you know, sometimes, I mean, I know, you know, uniforms, I find it all a bit archaic and a bit old.
But I suppose if you sign up your kid, it's a bit like... Actually, I'm changing my mind a bit about this. It's a bit like if you go abroad, you know, if you go to Dubai, and in Dubai you're not allowed to take
drugs,
whatever drugs you might be allowed to take here, then that is the law of the land, isn't it?
Yes.
And really, it's the same with schools.
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't sign up our kids for a school where it was very extreme and suppressed any sort of expression or creativity. We just, because that's not our vibe. Doesn't mean it's not, it doesn't mean we're right, but it's just right for us. So I think if you sign up for a strict Catholic school and those are the rules, then I suppose you've got to stick to them.
Helen Grove says her daughter, who is now 30, was sent home from school for wearing purple socks.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, what a
God,
joke.
that would bring the teachers out in hives if you went in purple socks.
See, I just find the priorities are in the wrong place there. Carol Naismith, it's just a modern haircut. You're absolutely right, Carol.
I don't see anything wrong with that haircut.
Yeah, I thought he'd have something really bad shaved on his head. Julie Everett, same hair. And finally, just a little bit of showbiz news. The Crown has begun its search for an actor to play Kate Middleton. What are they going to do when they've caught up with, like, the nowness of now in The Crown? Will they do a futuristic Crown? Will we travel into the future? Will it be a sort of SpaceX kind of Crown of the future? Who could play Kate Middleton? Thoughts, ideas on a postcard. Pop your thoughts beneath this live once it's uploaded. Who?
Brooke Shields is a bit Kate Middleton-like.
She's a bit old though now, isn't she?
No, but they'll be playing her in the future. Or is it a young Kate Middleton?
She's still young.
A young Kate Middleton.
I don't think Brooke Shields. No. Kate Middleton? Anyone? Anyone? Think of anyone who could play Kate Middleton? Anyway, share your thoughts and then perhaps get in touch with The Crown and you can make a suggestion. So guys, have a lovely day. I will be back later, obviously, for the Johnny Depp Amber Heard update. Nadia would be joining me, but it's often too late. And she's sort of in a corner, sort of with her legs in the air, aren't you? Sort of snoring.
I do, I start dribbling.
Snoring, she starts dribbling. So anyway, there'll be...
I cooked 4 different dinners last night.
Yeah, it's true,
Everyone
she did.
had a different meal. I was
She
bloody
did.
knackered.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. So there'll be that, and there will be vlogs landing, I promise you, in the next 36 hours. Stay safe, have a lovely day, and bye!